Matt Walker didn't grow up in River Falls. He's an Indiana native. But after living here for 15 years, River Falls is home for Matt and his family. Recently, Matt helped put River Falls on the national stage as the head coach of the UW-River Falls Falcons football team, which won its first ever Division III national championship in early January. Being in the spotlight gave Matt the opportunity to shine a light on River Falls and the community that he's a big part of. On this special Partner Spotlight episode of the Kinni Cast, Matt shares more about his love of River Falls, talks about how the relationship between the university and the community has grown since he first arrived, and of course, he recaps the excitement of his team's national championship. Hi everybody, welcome to a special episode of the Kinni Cast. This is the first of what we're calling our Partner Spotlight. We thought it would be a perfect timing to jump on this with the national champion River Falls Falcons. They won the Division III football championship, as I'm sure everyone listening knows, but we're excited to be joined today by head coach Matt Walker, who's been the coach here for 15 years and has a trophy here not too far from us right now. But Coach, how are you doing today? I know it's been a busy week for you.
Doing great. Thanks for having me on. It's
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, let's maybe start with you a little bit. As we record this, it's been less than a week, but you've done a lot of interviews, all that sort of thing, and all the excitement probably still hasn't worn off yet. What has this week been like?
A little surreal. Like I was talking about off air, like I thought there'd be some cool local stuff and happy to do it. So fun, but the national attention's been almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
I think a couple things. One, the underdog story. You're playing North Central, who's been to 6 straight national titles. They've lost 2 games in 5 years.
Yeah.
And that story was cool. I think people are tired right now of the NIL and portal and mess that we have going on in college sports right now. I think this is a fun story for them that's not that, which they hear about all the time. So yeah, there's some, obviously Caleb Blaha's accomplishments and what our quarterback did. He's getting some major national attention with the Joe Burrow record and now the Arch Manning, attention. So I think there's some cool storylines. And I think people fell in love with River Falls, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And from a national spotlight, with what ESPN was able to do and kind of showcase down. I've talked a lot about. I think it was that post-game interview on the field that I had with ESPN. It was a little out of body, and I've joked, but it's true. I don't even know what I said. And thank God it came out. I think me kind of crying like a baby. I didn't swear, but I think the tears and stuff and how it came out, people were kind of attracted to that a little bit. And so anyway, there's been a number of things that I think have created some national attention for us.
Yeah, well, that was one thing I wanted to get to at one point, but we'll jump into it now maybe, is just kind of this opportunity to put River Falls, the school obviously and the team, but really the city and the community on that kind of national spotlight too. What has that meant to, I know in some of your interviews you've said, there's no place in the world like this town, and you talked about the charm of River Falls. What has that meant to you to just kind of, like you said, showcase River Falls on that stage?
It means everything, and I mean all those things. This is such a special place. I didn't grow up here. I'm an Indiana guy, and this town, I say, took us in a hurry. This became home for us. It feels now like we're from here. My family, my kids, my oldest one, my 2 girls were not born. They were born in Indiana, but one came here as a baby. The other one, she's the only one that remembers Indiana at all. So, Wisconsin's home for them. River Falls is home for them.
Yeah.
We hit the jackpot with ages with our kids. So we automatically were entrenched in the youth sports, and my wife's in charge as a part of the booster club. And, the ages of the kids kind of made us such a part of this town as well. And I just playing for the Fighting Fish, and entrenched me in the town. All these things made us have these strong ties to the town. And I mean it. There's just no other. I've been around a lot of towns. I've been around a lot of college towns.
Right.
There's just nothing like our place with, again, its charm. I think the relationship with the college is really special. The support's always been there, but when this playoff run and seeing every bar downtown packed and showing the game and what a cool thing. And our kids really appreciate our players, because again, they're not all from River Falls, obviously, but they really appreciate the town support.
Yeah. Take me back 15 years ago when you did first come here. You spent some time in Greencastle, Indiana, and I think you're at Butler briefly. But when you first came to River Falls, I guess, did you know much about it, and what were your first impressions of the town when you got here?
I didn't know a thing about it other than I liked it. It even on my interview, it kind of spoke to me a little bit. It resonated with me as this cool small town. The school did that as well. I knew I wanted this job. And one of the funny stories, again, some people at River Falls they'll get a tickle out of this, but I was at Butler at the time. I had no idea who Mike Farley was. When I'm on the interview and I learn he's the Mount Rushmore and iconic figure of this football program. He's the father of Steve Farley. Steve Farley was the head baseball coach at Butler at the time. Okay. And I had no clue. So I learned while I'm here on my interview, while I'm an employee at Butler, that Steve Farley's the son of Mike Farley. He's from here. So
small world, huh?
Small. I get back to Indianapolis that Monday after interviewing here and walk right down to the base. And Mike and I was the head baseball coach at DePaul for 10 years. So,
right.
So Steve and I recruited against each other and even played against each other and stuff. So we had a good relationship and knew each other. And I went right down to the baseball office and he goes, I already know, I already heard, I already talked to my dad. And so it was kind of a cool connection with the Farley family.
Yeah, that's neat.
Even on my interview. So.
Yeah, and you kind of alluded a little bit to just the college town. You've worked in some other college towns. So Greencastle, Indiana is where DePauw University is. I've actually been there before, believe it or not. But it's a little bit smaller than River Falls, but still kind of centered around the university. What do you think having a university in a small town like River Falls or Greencastle really means for the city, for the residents, the community?
I love it. I grew up in Crawfordsville, which is where Wabash College is at. So I just grew up around it. There's just something special about having college and the college sports and the college scenery and college kids. And I always said it was never as fun when it was summertime and whether it was growing up and the Wabash guys weren't in session or, when we were living in Greencastle and working there. And even here, like whenever it's summer, it's never as fun. I just miss when the kids are here. There's just something about it that's hard to put into words that you love when all the college people are here. There's more energy and it feels right when the college kids are in session.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked, I guess on Monday it was when the team returned and you guys came down Main Street. There were fans with flags and there was the kids that had the homemade signs for the team that walked there from the school. What did that moment mean to you and to the rest of the team?
Incredible. I've said in some of these interviews, it's like you can't imagine or these memories for lifetime. In Ohio, you're in Canton, Ohio. You're at the Hall of Fame Stadium. Hell, you get 2 hours. Each team got 2 hours on their own to be in the Hall of Fame. You win the dang national championship. You have ESPN, over and over, all these things that are just memories for a lifetime. And one of the things that maybe jerked at my heart more than anything was coming home. I've said it in some of these. The police escort that picked us up on the exit, Nick Jacobson, he played for me. It was the defensive player of the year in the league in 2014. Played for me. And then I said 90% of the cars pulling over, not even standing on Main Street at the parade, but pulling over because of the police escort. I knew them, just because it's that kind of town. I'm holding the trophy in the front of the bus, and these people, I'm waving to half the people in the cars because I know them. Then you get to Main Street, like you said. Here's the kids from my own kids' elementary school. Here's every business. Everybody's hanging out the door. And then how about this? We get back here in the Falcon Center, and the women's hockey team's in the middle of practice. And we go bust in their practice with our trophy. And here's your two reigning national champions in women's hockey and football together right when we got home. It was a pretty special moment. So, yeah, I'll never forget that arrival back home was pretty magical.
Yeah. You mentioned the women's hockey team. The high school football team had a pretty good run, too. They had some World Series alums winning the World Series. It was a pretty good run for River Falls sports.
Absolutely incredible. I think the Fish won another title as well. So, amazing success around here. Ryan Shears, the high school coach, is a good buddy of mine. It was so much fun following their season. It's been a pretty good football fall here for everybody. Yeah.
Well, on the football note, I mentioned we won't get too deep into the weeds on the football itself, but when you look at the season and what this team accomplished, what kind of stands out to you most, and what will you take away most from this team in this year?
Well, I think the journey to get to the national championship, you win the title, everyone talks about the title, but we beat 10 playoff teams in one season. We had two non-conference teams that were playoff teams, and then obviously there were 3 in our league other than us. We had 4 teams in the playoffs out of our league, and then our march to the title. That's 10 wins against playoff teams on your road to win a national championship. Unheard. It might be the only team in the history of college football that's won against that many playoff teams. So again, this wasn't some fluke and we kind of tripped our way into the game and just happened to get lucky on the game. We beat 10 playoff teams to win this national championship. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's a great run. And you mentioned earlier Caleb Blaha, the quarterback, in the year that he had. I mean, could you have imagined, I know he had an injury that allowed him to come back for a year, but coming into this year, could you have imagined having the season that he had?
I knew he was the best player in the country, so in some ways, yes. Did I know he was going to beat Joe Burrow's unbreakable? No, I didn't know that. I've joked, but it's true. Like, I'm really focused on game day. It takes a lot to get me unfocused, and we're in the national championship game, and here's ESPN's coverage going up on the big screens, and I see the split screen of him and Joe Burrow's face together, after you just broke the record. And I said, even me, for 10 seconds, I stepped away for a second from the game, and I'm just to admire what an incredible accomplishment for him. Yeah, he's just the best player in the country. And when, we knew we had a special team coming into this year. We had high expectations, but when he was granted the medical red shirt and, because he wasn't able to play, we knew pretty good shot in the arm of adrenaline to get the best player in America to be your quarterback again. We knew we could make a pretty special run here.
What was it like to see, you had quite a few Falcons fans that made the trip to Canton. I know there's some buses that went there and some alumni and all that. What did that mean when you looked up in the stands, after you guys win the game and you see those fans who've stuck with this program through, some tough years and continue to support you guys?
I probably haven't talked about it enough in all these interviews. It's probably one of the things I need to talk about more. That was absolutely incredible. That side of our stands in a stadium that big, in an NFL stadium, to have our side was packed. I could not believe how loud it was and how many fans were there. And what a fun, for me personally and selfishly, it was such a cool collision of every branch of my life there. I had hometown friends from when we grew up. I had high school friends. I had, obviously, my family was all there, and extended family. A lot of my extended family is from Ohio, so they were there. Here's guys I played college ball with. Here's alumni. Here's players that I coached. You name, the families of the players. Every branch of my life was represented in this one place, all cheering us on to win a national title. It was absolutely incredible.
Yeah. I'm curious, you mentioned earlier on that River Falls feels like home now. You've been here 15 years. Outside of football, what are some of the things you enjoy most about the town?
Well, we all live in this world of youth sports craziness, and I rip it and shred it and talk negatively about some of the problems in youth sports in the country more than anybody. And here I am coaching every damn team in the St. Croix Valley, I feel like. So, we're obviously busy with youth sports and following the kids around. And, that's such a big, that it's really the core of our friends as well. But, outside of chasing those kids around, you don't have time for much. My wife and I are going to get away here a little bit. The National Coaches Convention's in Charlotte. We're gonna head there and make a trip out of it. But it's all about sports for us most of the time.
Time for trout fishing or any of that kind of stuff?
I sure wish, man. If I can squeeze a couple rounds of golf in, it's a good year. I love golf, and I'm a good golfer and enjoy playing. And I think I play on average 2.5 to 3 times a summer. And I'd play every day if I could. I just don't have the time to do it.
Sure. Well, you got some connections to some of our staff. So Tim Ricksman, I don't know if you remember the name, was a defensive back about a decade ago. He's one of our wastewater operators. One of the things he does for his job, he climbs the water towers, does maintenance up at the top. I'm curious if that's something that he could ever convince you to do you think?
No chance.
No?
I love roller coasters, but that's all I'll do in going up other than being on an airplane. Yeah, Tim's a good kid.
Yeah. And he climbs up. He says you can see the stadium from the Sycamore Tower over here, the one that's got the UW-River Falls painted on it.
So Tell him to take a picture for me.
Yeah,
I'm not going up with him.
I've got the drone up there and filmed him up there before. But yeah, he said he's wanting to get up there and maybe watch some of the game from up there with some binoculars or something. I said he could probably get better seats than that. But
I'll leave it to him.
Well, someone else that you know pretty well is the fire chief, Justin Wilson. And I know there's been talks about a parade coming up maybe once the students are back. What will that mean when you think about that celebration, fire trucks, and just kind of a more formal parade in the gathering and opportunity for fans to come out and support you guys again?
I can't wait to do it. I talked to Justin already a couple times. It sounds like we got quite the plans already going to bring some of the Army and crew of trucks and vehicles from the surrounding towns. Because we were talking about, it's cool, we got kids from Baldwin and Prescott and Spring Valley and Plum City, and I think there's some talks going on to bring in the infantry of fire trucks and vehicles from those towns as well to represent them. But yeah, we're waiting for our students to get back on campus. We start class of 26, so I think we'll do something after everybody gets back. But pretty quick, we want to celebrate this thing pretty. At some point, we got to put that trophy in the trophy case. Keep
You're just carrying it around with you?
My buddy, it up there my friends are joking if I've set it down yet. But everybody they want it in the interviews and stuff. So I'm sure going to make it available.
Sure. Do the kids get a chance with the Stanley Cup, or how does that work with the?
It's funny. We got back and on break right now, so it's like everybody. It feels like we didn't have this finality. The national champion should be the finality of a season that everybody wants. But you're always in your season with a team meeting on the Monday, and you can slowly take your locker stuff out and clean. I mean, we get back and guys are, they're immediately going home because you're on break. So it was this weird, unfinished and unfinality to our season. We still got to like have our team meeting and vote on team awards, and we haven't been able to do any of that stuff because it's such a weird ending. What a cool way to have a weird ending.
For sure.
But yeah, at some point the kids will get to, parade the trophy around. They've asked me a few times already, and it sounded like it was some escapades I did not want the trophy to be involved in downtown.
Keep it in
so
one
yeah,
piece,
we'll keep it in one piece for now.
Well, speaking of trophies, so a lot of people know that you were a pretty good baseball player back in the day. Spent, as you mentioned, some years with the Fighting Fish here in town. More recently, you've been active with the men's softball league with the city, and you've got actually a softball trophy sitting at the desk of our recreation coordinator, Kyle Mackey, in his office. I'm curious, is that trophy is going to go right next to the national championship?
It's
trophy?
funny, with all the talent attention that the game got and everything. That I've been joking well on our Johnny softball thread. I said, we won our second most important title today to the group. And yeah, there've been some good jokes about winning multiple titles this year.
Well, I heard the story you told on K-Fan about pitching for the Fish and then having to hustle back here for your first day of camp.
That's a true story. I didn't hardly know anybody yet. And again, here's this important first day of my job. And it's an early morning, those check-in days. And I'm still pitching past midnight. And I'm like, I have to go. Like, I got to do a good job my first day ever on my job getting these kids here. So yeah, I literally took off. I don't know if I could have thrown another one anyway. That's probably threw about 250 pitches in one game there, but I was happy to do it. What a fun run, and I'm so glad that I found those guys. And again, I was kind of done with my baseball career, but probably those first 2-3 years of the Fish, probably the best I've ever played. I don't know what happened, because I kind of had taken some time off and not throwing. I think I kind of put my arm back together a little bit and rested my arm enough, and yeah, it's the best I've ever played. Probably till that game. I think I've re-injured my arm after throwing 250 pitches that day, but still
Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, limped around for an okay career after that.
Well, as a big baseball guy, what did it mean to you to see baseball back on campus this past year?
It's been awesome. Steve Bartline, our head coach, is as good of a guy as I've ever been around in this profession. He's absolutely amazing. But yeah, I'm a baseball guy. It's been so fun to watch these games. And there's nothing like college baseball. Again, obviously I'm a football dude and love it, but there's something special and cool and unique about college baseball that's hard to talk about and hard to put into words. And I do miss it, and was really missing it. And so it's so fun having it back on campus.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple left here for you. You mentioned kind of when you got here, just everything that went into a new city and everything. But how has River Falls changed, or what have you seen change in the community, the city, the university in the 15 years that you've been here?
Well, I don't know if change is right. Maybe the ties to the school seem to be stronger than ever. It seems like that relationship, in our profession, you call it the town gown relationship. You mentioned these other college towns across the country. I would tell you that most are more strained of a relationship than people think.
Interesting.
There's none of that here. It's so supportive. People that go to school here, they want to stay here. People that live here, they love supporting the college. There's just, I don't know, this coexistence of our campus and community all hanging out together. I kind of, famously is the wrong word, but I used this line and people liked it. It's getting some attention, where I was explaining River Falls, and I said, River Falls is, this unique privately owned bar and grill situation that we have down our main street. It's just very unique because of how many we have, how much they all support each other. Even them, these contending businesses, they support each other.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, like, to people in Indiana, like, you go meet your family at the bar, and you have a business meeting at the bar.
Right.
People don't understand that don't live here. And I use the line that you could go into one of our, privately owned bar and grills on Friday afternoon, and at the end of the bar would be the mayor, a professor, a student in the town drunk having a beer, and nobody is judging, and everyone's supportive. And that's just kind of the way River Falls is. And I really believe that. So, maybe it's more pride in our town and more stronger relationship with the university than maybe ever. Sure. It just continues to be such a great place to live and raise a family.
Yeah, and it does hear, like, I keep hearing stories of people who came to school here and ended up just staying. They fell in love with the town, or maybe they met their spouse in college and they decided to put up roots here.
For
sure.
It's funny, every year when I lose a class of seniors, and of course they're sad because football's over, they're sad to leave the campus. But one of the things I hear from them over and over is they're more upset about having to leave River Falls than they thought they were going to be. They really missed the town. They loved going to college here because the town's so cool.
Yeah, we've got probably 15 to 20 alums on our staff, and we did a little video with some of our alumni ahead of the championship game, so that was kind of fun to let them show their support too, so that was cool.
That's awesome.
Well, the last question, and normally, like I said, I ask this of our staff, but I think it applies to you too. I'm curious, what do you hope your work or your tenure here will have on the people of River Falls, so students and community members alike?
You know, I was just telling some people this because I ran into a group of people that I saw on one of these videos I'm going to talk about. Again, of all these, similar to when I was explaining coming home, how magical that was compared to, we had all this special stuff happen, but same thing, billions of pictures and cool videos and even professionally produced highlight videos and all these things. CBS Sports did one, ESPN did one, such cool images and things. And I think what warms my heart the most are these homemade videos that so many people have sent me where they were watching the game somewhere in town, whether it's their house, whether it was Johnny's Bar, whether it was Tarnation. They've sent me the homemade videos with them in it and all these other people that I know personally in it, the smiles that you see and how passionate everybody was, and the messages I've got about how people, these grown men and women in tears who some of them I know some, but not this hardcore relationship with, and even them, the messaging they've got of how special it was for them and how much it meant to them and how they were in tears about how much pride the ESPN was showing about River Falls. And it feels cool to be the head coach of a team that supplied this source of joy and happiness for so many people in this cool town that I love so much. So it's already happened, I think, is the answer.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a great place to wrap it up. And again, congrats to you and the team on an awesome run. I know for me, I didn't go to the university, just having worked for the city. It's been fun to watch, and I actually took my son to the St. John's game, so we caught a little bit of the playoffs, and yeah, it's been fun to follow. And yeah, again, congrats to you and the team, and thanks for taking time to do this today. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This is cool.
Yeah, this is head coach Matt Walker of the Division III national champion UW-River Falls Falcons. Again, keep your ears out for, it might be a parade coming up here soon. But again, just been a fun run for the Falcons, and I know the community's really been behind the team all the way. So thanks everybody for tuning into this episode of the Kinni Cast. If you don't already subscribe, you can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on the city website, rfcity.org. Until next time, have a great day, River Falls.